Hi, welcome to Core Rehab. This program is suitable for anyone who is 6 weeks postpartum, and it's suitable if you had a vaginal or a cesarean delivery. So we've got my lovely Yasmin here. We're going to start off with a little bit of diaphragmatic breathing. So if you can just lie on your back for me. Good. So we're going to just start inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth, okay? So I want you to let the mat have your weight, okay? Inhaling, expanding your rib cage, and then exhaling as if you're blowing out a candle on a cake. So this 20-minute workout is for you, okay? So I want you to try and leave anything that kind of might be in the back of your mind or very much in the front of your mind, okay? It might be the first time that you're having 20 minutes to yourself. So just really try and empty that brain on the exhale breath of all the things that are kind of worrying you, and just inhaling and really filling up the lower lobes of your lungs. When you're early postnatal, things are quite stressful, okay? So you might tend to hold your breath or keep the breath very, very shallow like you did in the latter part of your pregnancy. So really try and allow the breath to travel down into the lower lobes of the lungs. I want you to think about it traveling into the back, the front, the sides of the rib cage. And then as you exhale, try and get that full exhalation and that nice expansion of the rib cage on the inhale breath. Good. Just notice where that breath sits. If it sits higher, try and just send it lower, right into the back of the mat, so your mat is supporting you. So think about the rib cage expanding onto the mat. And then we're going to start to think about your pelvic floor, okay? So you might not actually find that connection in the first few sessions, but I want you to start thinking about mind-body connection. Even if you can't feel it, I want you to think about where those muscles are and think about them working for you. They are your support network, okay? So as you inhale, you're going to expand your rib cage. And as you exhale, you're going to start to think about lifting the pelvic floor. So your pelvic floor is a diamond shape, okay? And I want you to think about the back, the front, and the sides of those diamonds coming up into the center and then just releasing. Now in this position, it's really easy to want to clench your glutes, but I want you to try and relax the glutes. It's not a bum squeeze. I want you to think about that lift. It's almost as if you're trying to hold in wind, which I know is so glamorous, just like postnatal is the most glamorous thing. You're gonna lift up on that exhale breath and then release. So quite often we think about the pelvic floor just at the front, but it is a large muscle. So concentrate on thinking about the back passage as well. And then on that next exhale breath, we're just going to hold that lift, if you can, for around 5 to 8 seconds, okay? 5 to 8 seconds is where we're aiming for. So we're lifting, we're holding for that 5 to 8 seconds, you're counting, and then you're letting it go. Good. We're going to do 3 more of these, and you might need to take a breath in between each one, and that's totally fine. Your mind might wander, and that's okay as well, so just bring it back. And then lifting up and releasing. Good. I'm just going to give you 20 more seconds just to complete those last few reps. And just make a note of where you start to feel that it's a little bit of a struggle. Maybe it's on that 6 second, maybe it's that 7 second. And then the next time you do it, add a second on, okay? So that you know each time you're doing this class, you're trying to get a little bit better at that hold. All right, good. And unless I cue the pelvic floor, I want you to not think about it. You don't have to do your pelvic floor the whole way through the class, okay? So unless I cue it, don't think about it, okay? All right, so we're gonna bring ourselves back into the room, and we're just gonna make sure that our feet are just about a hand's width between our bottom, okay? So you're just bringing those feet in a little bit more. Perfect, good. And we're gonna just start to rock the tailbone. And come up into an articulated hip bridge, okay? So tucking the tailbone under slightly and starting to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Now, when we get to the top, I want you to have a little think about what your rib cage is doing. Your rib cage had to move out during pregnancy, and it tends to flare a little bit early postnatal. So think about the ribs dropping down towards the hips, and imagine I'm in your living room or wherever you're doing it, and I'm pulling your kneecaps away from you. So you're opening up through the front of the body. And then on the next exhale breath, I want you to think about slowly bringing the spine back down one at a time. Good, and getting that articulation all the way through and then moving into your neutral spine. Really nice, good. We're going to do another 3 of those. So we're inhaling to prepare, and then you're exhaling to roll up, okay? So think about the vertebrae making a little imprint in the mat each time you're rolling up. When we get to the top, we're checking in with our ribs, kneecaps being pulled away, and then on the next exhale breath, you're rolling down and you're trying to put that spine back in each one of its little imprints on the mat, and then rolling through into your neutral spine. Now, if you need to close your eyes when you're doing that because you want to feel that mind-body connection, feel free. I'm just going to do 2 more for me in your own time. That's it, good. Pulling those kneecaps away, lengthening, and then slowly lowering. Good. And then on your last one, we're going to stay up, okay? So bringing yourself back into that position. There's no rush, okay? Pressing into the feet. Use your arms a little bit as well to just make sure that you're in that nice hip bridge position. And then you're going to take a nice inhale and exhale, float the arms up so that they're just above your chest. Good. Turn your palms towards each other, and then again, check in with the ribs, drop the ribs down. Left thumb is going to go over the head, and right little finger is going to travel down towards your foot. And then you're going to bring it back and change sides. So we're just windscreen wipering those arms. That's it. Good. Checking in with that rib cage. Using your breath. I don't mind, when you're moving the arms, as long as you are breathing, okay? Good. And we're just going to do 2 more on each side, okay? So 2 more on each side. Really nice. Lovely. And then once you finish that last one, you're going to just take the arms back so that they're over the chest, and very, very slowly start to articulate your spine back down and coming into that nice semi-supine position. Good. Floating the arms back down. And then we're going to come into a box position. So coming over onto your knees. If your knees are sore, you can always roll the mat up. Again, the same thing with your wrists, okay? If you're finding that your wrists are getting quite tired from picking the baby up all the time, please take a rest whenever you need to, okay? So in this position, I want you to push through the little finger, the thumb, the heel of the hand. So as you're doing lots of feeding and carrying, and the shoulder stabilizers tend to lengthen slightly. So I really want you to push into the floor and wrap those shoulders around. Really nice, good. Then we're going to take a nice inhale breath, tuck the toes under. We're going to come into a knee hover. Exhaling as you lift the knees off just a centimeter. Inhale at the top, and then exhale and lower back down. We're going to do 4 more of these, okay? So we inhale to prepare, we exhale to lift, we inhale to hover, and we exhale to lower back down. So the tendency for this postnatally is to want to almost cheat and kind of just use your legs a little bit more. So I really want you to think about those abdominals wrapping round like a corset as you lift up, okay? So you've got your transverse wrapping round, your pelvic floor supporting you, and that breath supporting you in the diaphragm. Good. We'll do 2 more of these, and then just checking in with how your shoulders are doing as well. Good. That nice stability. And then this is going to be your final one. If you're feeling that it's okay, maybe you can hold it for a few seconds at the top. Maybe that's not for you today. Just see how it feels. Good. And then lowering back down. Good. Coming off of the wrist, giving them a shake out if you need to. So we're going to come into a bird dog, okay? Really good one for starting to work the muscles that wrap around the spine, okay? So you're in that box position. You're going to take a nice inhale. I want you to lengthen through the crown of the head and the tailbone. Nice, good. Then you're going to slide your left arm and your right leg away. Keep them on the mat to begin with, okay? This might be enough for you today. If you're feeling like you can, you're going to start to lift the arm and the leg up and away from the mat. Good, reaching forward, but keeping the hips nice and square. And then slowly bringing it back down. Good. And then all the way in for me. And then changing sides. So we're going to do 2 more like this, and then we're going to add a little bit of flexion to it, okay? So we're lifting up. Good. This might not be for you today. Remember, you've got the option of keeping the arm and the leg and sliding away using the resistance from the floor. Good. And then we're just going to do 1 more on the other side. So adding a little bit of flexion in is really important. When when our babies cry in the middle of the night, we kind of fling ourselves out of bed, we're doing flexion. So it's not something that we should be frightened of, but it's something that we have to build up to, okay? So we're gonna come into that same beginning part of the move. We reach the arm and the leg away. Maybe you keep it on the floor, maybe you lift it up. And then as you come in, you're gonna start to bring the hand towards the knee and come into a little bit of forward flexion through the spine. That's it, good, nice. Press into the knee and then slide it away. We're gonna do 3 on this side. So that pressure in between from the hand and the knee, use that exhale breath to connect into those core muscles. Good, really nice. Last one here. So we're getting that little bit of flexion through the spine. Yep. And then opening out and then slide the hand and the leg back in. Really nice. Again, if you need to take a break, shake out the wrists, feel free. Shake out the shoulders. There's a lot going on in those early stages with holding. You hold a lot of tension when you're carrying the baby, so feel free to shake out whenever you need to. Okay, we're changing sides. All right, so we're lengthening away. Remember, your option is to stay on the mat, and then you're bringing it in and you're giving that little push. Good. Now try and keep the weight evenly distributed between the hand and the supporting leg, okay? Try not to lean over to one side. Good, really nice, Yasmin, keep it here. And lovely, extending and then bringing it back. Okay, our last one that's going to be on our hands, okay, so just shake it out if you need to. We're going to come into a variation of that. So we're going to take your left hand and it's going to slide past your body and come into a row. Your right leg is going to be extended out, okay? That's it, good. So option is to keep it off the floor. If you need to, you can pop it down. And then you're going to place the hand back down. So we go lifting with that left arm and then bringing it back down. So the leg doesn't have to come with you, it can stay there, but if you can, lift it out with you. That's it, nice. And we're just starting to alternate. So that row is starting to activate the back of the body, okay? So if you did our prenatal series, you'll know that I talk a lot about the posterior chain, okay? Really important that we're strengthening the back of the body, even more so postnatally. Because when you think about it, everything you do is at the front still, carrying, feeding, however you're doing it, pushing the pram, it's all forward, okay? So we need to really keep those back muscles nice and strong. We're still using the breath, thinking about that exhale and then bringing it back down. Let's just do one more on each side. Okay, so remember you've got the options. You can add the legs, you can take the legs away, whatever feels good for you today, all right? And lovely, really nice and good. Okay, whew. All right, take any pressure out of the wrists, maybe just send the hips back. Oh, how are you feeling? Good. All right, so we're going to come into a little bit of mobility now. So back in that box position, but I promise you won't be there for too long. Take your left leg out to the side. Good. And then you're going to take your left arm up towards the ceiling. And then you're going to just scoop that left arm underneath. That's it. Good. And then bringing it all the way back up, opening up. And then bringing it back. Now, if that extension of the left leg doesn't feel good, then you just bring it underneath and we just take it into a thread the needle. That's totally fine, okay? So this is your option if that leg extension doesn't feel good for you today. Just 2 more. And this is a really good one for you to do, but also your partner, okay? Because they should be doing lots of holding and carrying as well, okay? So your partner this will be a nice one for them as well. Good. And then we're just changing that side. So just shimmying the leg out. Yeah, good. And then finding that balance and then opening up. Good. And one side will always feel slightly tighter than the other. Prenatal, that would have been the same. It's going to get even worse now, okay? Because your child will have a favorite side and you will hold them on that side, or you're doing it on your weaker side where you're trying to grab with your stronger side, okay? So just go with that. It's just a period of time, okay? But when we're exercising, we want to try and work evenly through the body. Good, let's just do that last one. And nice. Okay, cool. So we're going to come into some side planks. So you're just going to come onto the side. So just roll over. That's it. Good. And so shoulder in line with your elbow, and then elbow in line with your hip. and then hip in line with your bottom knee. So your bottom knee is going to come back. That's it, good. And then you're going to extend your top leg for me. That's it, good. Nice. All right. So imagine that you've got headlights on your hips. Your hips want to track forward. Loads of stuff happened with during pregnancy and labor with your hips. So you really want to keep the hips tracking forward. You're now going to engage the bottom butt cheek, and we're going to lift up into a side plank. That's it, good. So don't worry if you're like, oh no, I'm not doing this. It's a work in progress, okay? So we're gonna hold for about 20 seconds, inhaling and exhaling. Good. And then we're gonna add some taps if that's where you are today, okay? If you're not, you're just gonna come down and rest. So I just want you to extend that top arm for me. And then you're just gonna tap down towards the floor. So just tapping it down and then bringing it back up. Keep squeezing the bottom butt cheek so that you're lifting up. Imagine there's something really disgusting underneath you. That new parents, you will know what that kind of thing is. Good, just gonna do another 2. And then this is your last one. And rest, good, perfect. Coming back down, and we're just gonna change sides. So coming over onto the opposite side. That's it, good. And then extending. And then again, don't be worried if you could do it on one side and you can't on the other. That's quite normal, okay? So take a nice inhale, exhale, we lift up. We're holding here for 20 seconds, okay? And remember, that's where we're working to, okay? So it might be that you find that easy, and that's great, but you might find that quite challenging, and that is where we're working to, that 20 seconds, okay? You've got about 5 seconds to go. We're gonna add the taps if you're coming with me, okay? So 3, 2, extend that top arm, and then we tap. That's it, good. Nice. So think about that length through the crown of the head and that supporting leg. Nice. Good. Gonna go for another 3 of these taps here. So we're lifting, opening, and then bringing back. You've got 2 more. Nice. And then this is your final one. And bring it back down. Good, perfect. So we're going to roll onto our back, okay? And we're just going to come into some tabletop work, okay? So we're going to start off thinking about finding that imprinted spine. So we're just going to do a few rocks of the pelvis, okay? So we're tucking the tailbone and then releasing. So I just want you to find that movement through the pelvis, okay? Excellent. And just think about, imagine there is a glass of water on your pubis bone, and you're just pouring the water into your tummy button when you are in that imprint, and then you're releasing, coming into your neutral. Remember that your posture would have changed during pregnancy, and it doesn't just go back completely to where it was. So we just need to find our new neutral, and then we're going to just slide the leg away, okay? So find that neutral spine where you've got that little gap underneath. You're going to just press the heel against the floor, slide down, and then press against the floor to slide back up. Good. Now it won't feel crazy, this, okay? But it's just starting to re-engage those tummy muscles, yeah? And then bringing back up. Especially if you had a C-section, you might find that it's hard to marry kind of the movements up and some feeling, okay? So even though it probably just feels, kind of easy-ish, maybe for some of you, it's really important to start here, okay? Because we can throw the shape, but we might not be able to actually feel the move. Good. And then we'll just do 1 more on each side. Good. And then finishing off that last one. And then we're going to come into an imprinted spine, okay? So I want you to think about your ribs and your hips coming towards each other, okay? And then we're going to just test where we are, okay? You're going to lift one leg up into tabletop. Good. And we're looking for any movement through the abdominals, so any kind of big movement where we can't feel like we can lift that leg without and losing connection through the core, okay? So with the second one, the same thing. We're going to lift up and we're trying to have minimal movement. Good, okay? Now for some of you, you'll be like, nah, I can only do 1 leg, and that's totally fine. Some of you will be on 2, okay? So if you're on 2, I just want you to just toe tap. So you're going to come down and then bring it back up. And you guys are going to stay there, maintaining that core connection. If you found that when you lifted the second leg up, it was a no-no, you're just going to come into some marches. So just bring your legs down for me. Going to go into neutral, and then you're just going to lift 1 leg up and then bring it back down. Okay, so these are options, okay? You meet yourself where you are. You don't have to rush, okay? And this is just a period of time. You will get stronger. We just have to kind of start and rebuild, yeah? Just gonna do 3 more. Good. And then one more on each side, just making sure you're even. And then we're going to come into a variation of a dead bug, okay? So just sliding the arms up, okay? And we're going to lift your right leg up into tabletop, okay? And then your left arm and your right leg are going to slide away from each other. The other limbs stay still. That's the key. That's it. Good. Out and then back in. So especially those of you who had C-sections, okay, this is a really good one to moving across the body, lots of the fascia lines. It's really important to knit those back together, okay? I'm going to do 2 more for me. That's it, good. And then last one. And then place the leg back down, final time, okay? It's one of those ones that's a bit, also got to use your brain as well. So lifting the other leg up and then you're sliding away. That's it, good. Now, when you take the arm overhead, just watch what the rib cage does, okay? So to make sure that it's not kind of flaring and coming out. You're bringing it back in, really nice. We'll do another 3. And then final 2. And your last one. Good. And then just bring the leg back down, take the hands down, then just take your head side to side, just release any tension through there. Good. We're going to finish off with a few stretches. So just taking your right ankle onto your left knee. And that might be enough of a stretch for you, but if you can lift that other leg up and come into, and then hop, give a little, that's it, perfect. Nice. Good. And just take a moment just to think about where your breath is, okay? Has it stayed in those lower lobes of the lungs? Has it crept back in as your mind wandered? You've still got 2 minutes, so just make sure that you are kind of on your mat and you're doing your 20 minutes for you. And then change sides. Good. And then just holding that stretch, taking a nice inhale and exhale. Good. And then we're just going to bring ourselves up to seated. So you're just going to bring your knees to the side and then roll up. Good. Cross the legs over. Just going to take a few side bends. So just sliding the left arm onto the side. Reach the right arm over. Feel that stretch through the side. Good. Come back in and then changing over. Lovely, just do one more on each side. So reaching over, really feel that length down the side. Good, unclenching that jaw. Yeah, good, and then coming back into the center. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed the class. If you're finding that some of the moves aren't as challenging, we do have our core progression class, so do take a look at that as well.